fracking, so she went to North Korea to learn how to make a propaganda movie against fracking. It's an amazing movie.
Wow.
And it ends up being a movie about fracking, of course, and that's just a gimmick, but she really does go to North Korea to learn to make a propaganda movie. Yeah, anyways.
He's not saying that you should go to North Korea, but
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I don't know what you should do, but there's there are successful movements.
yeah, and there's a lot of actually successful small symbolic actions that you could just replicate and see if they work in the UK context as well.
Yeah.
There's been some amazing, fracking activism that includes stuff along the lines of what we do and other creative activists. So, we should talk and maybe
and you can
change ideas.
You can get ideas. There are a couple of websites. One is Beautiful Trouble, which this is named Beautiful Trouble. We actually don't know exactly why, but this is actually Beautiful Trouble. It's a book made by other people, including us. Also, we were some of the other people, but
This is getting really confusing.
yeah, but it's a book, and it has a lot of case studies of successful actions, and maybe unsuccessful ones too, principles of activism, tactics that you can use, and goes into great discussion, great length discussing each one, and so it's good for thinking through what you might want to do. Another resource that might be even better is Actipedia. It has thousands and thousands of examples of actions that people have taken around various issues, and you can probably find a whole bunch around fracking on there, as well as by region, so for the UK context. There's some really great actions that have been done in the UK, of course, that you probably know, like Cheat Neutral and the retirement party for that guy. We could, if you want to pick our brains on any of that, just email us at people@theyesmen.org, and we'll try to remember what we can't remember.
Yeah.
Just a follow-up question also. That's also a UK problem, that we have a biannual international arms fair that you could help us with. We always try to shut it down from the outside, and I think it's time for some more serious action from the inside.
Have you seen Mark Thomas? He went to an arms fair.
He published a book called As Used on Nelson Mandela. That was a really good book that kind of talks about these series of actions that they did, and it was also on his, he had a television show for a while.
Yeah.
But
He
I think
instructs an Indonesian general on how to admit a certain amount of torture to defuse accusations of more torture. I don't know, it's amazing.
I've been thinking about an eco-friendly arms company that we could...
that's a very
Good idea.
You don't have to worry about killing children anymore. They can sprout into beautiful fruit trees. There's a mystery seed in every bullet.
Oh, done.
Just a thought to play with.
okay. Now it just requires some
Rest
elbow
in
grease.
private, if we can.
Yeah, ideas are good. And action is...
Yeah, all of this. I mean, the reason that we do what we do is because symbolic actions have always played a major role in social movements and in the success of many different things that we think of now we take for granted, whether it's the women's right to vote, civil rights. I mean, all of the Indian independence movement was a place where all the stories we really remember are these symbolic actions, whether it was the idea that Gandhi actually made all of his own clothes, or the Salt March, which was an elaborate bit of theater. These types of things create the stories that help build and sustain movements, and it's the stories that we remember. Sometimes we don't actually know that there's stories that were created anymore, like Rosa Parks sitting on the bus. For us in America is something that we learn about, but we think of it as something that just happened. That's the way we learn about it as kids. We don't learn that it was a planned activist action, a symbolic action where they were very carefully, casting, Rosa Parks casting herself. They tried it with a couple other people, it didn't work so well. She also, in the most famous photo of it, the guy sitting in the photo, the white guy, is actually the United Press International reporter who's covering the story. He wasn't just a white bystander who had to sit in the back of the bus because she was sitting in the front seat. So it's those kinds of lessons that we learn and try to propagate with the Yes Lab and aspire to play a role in these movements. But what we do also wouldn't exist or wouldn't make sense without everybody else doing a lot more.
Yeah, the rest of the movement. It can be a part of movements, and sometimes it's essential, sometimes less. But the kinds of things we do, we enjoy doing, and we have a knack for it. Strangely, it's not rocket science, though. Anybody can do it, and people do when they want to do it. For some reason, they manage to do it. So if you feel like this is what you'd like to do, you can, without too much trouble. Yeah.